Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Andre from the Opinionated podcast, and I just want to remind you that we are live every Sunday on our Facebook page, and you can find us wherever you stream your music at the Opinionated podcast. So we drop a new episode every Tuesday. So remember to like, share, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Enjoy the show. Hey, guys, welcome to the Opinionated podcast, and we are your hosts,
Kevin Narrate,
and I'm Andre, and we have a special guest today. A very patient guest. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Jeffery Kipple, and I am both the author of a book called The Ridiculous Adventures of Servant and an ambassador for a movement called Rethink Fit.
Okay, and speaking of that, my man right here is on the left. He's trying to get back in the gym and getting fit.
I actually am, and we'll really go over that because I want to know all about that. So yeah, we kind of we do a little bit of a format here where we go into a little bit of the backstory, depending on how much that applies here. So, how'd you get started in your industry?
Well, I guess it depends which industry. But if I can tie them, weave them together.
There you go.
But as far as my book, I started writing my book when I was in my teens.
Oh.
And I started writing my book because I wanted to continue the story of comedy and all that kind of stuff. And I started writing that book, and that book was continued on throughout my life. It was a book I went back to every so often when I needed my own inspiration or so. But I spent my career in the fitness and wellness and empowerment space. So my wife and I, we started what's known as the natural bodybuilding movement and events known as fitness model search. So we ran expos and television shows and published magazines and tours around the world. So I started when I was in my late 20s.
Your late 20s.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. So
okay.
So what made you? Okay, so we're going to split these two up. What made you want to do? Let's start with the book. What made you say, "Hey, I want to write this book"? As a teenager, because as teenagers, our minds is like, it's not really focused.
I wasn't even reading.
Yeah, it's everything else. It's sports for men, sports, girls, or whatever, relationships, friendships. It's everywhere. But being focused is dedicating writing a book.
You're right. I started reading the types of shows that I used to watch with my friends were things like Monty Python and Fawlty Towers and that kind of comedy. Obviously, that transferred to Family Guy and Seinfeld and those type of things.
Right.
I read a book called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And when I read that book, I was laughing out loud. And I would laugh out loud even if I read it like a second or third time. And I realized that I really enjoyed that. And when the story ended, I just wanted to continue it. And me and my friends always did all kinds of crazy adventures and all kinds of different things, that you're not supposed to do. And I said, well, what if I just took these things into stories and twisted around and just made my own sci-fi comedy type book? So that's where I started. It was first for me.
Wow.
Yeah, because wasn't Spaceballs, if anybody remember that. That was a good sci-fi comedy of a trope of Star Wars.
They got a couple.
Yeah, that was like classic, but I remember that was definitely a classic right there.
Yeah, it was.
So, okay, now also with the book, now the fitness. Now you're like, what made you want to do the fitness? Which is he's very interested in. I'm interested in the comedy, but as far as the fitness go, how did you make your transition into that?
Yeah.
Well, I was always into working out to some degree. I got my first weight set when I was around 12 years old. And, I always, worked out. I went to the gym and I saw that there was something lacking in the marketplace. At the time that we launched these things, what was lacking in the marketplace was the fact that steroids were so rampant. And so many people were being caught into a world of trying to achieve something through the use of drugs, and just saw that there was something that needed to be done differently. In Canada at the time, when I did research anything, nothing existed for someone to compete in a natural environment without steroids, without any of those types of things, where there's an event that's tested. And we said, okay, well, let's create it. So we put out the first show, not realizing or really knowing exactly what to expect, because it was something new. Some of the companies that we would go to right at the beginning to get advertising or sponsorship kind of laughed at the idea, you know, natural bodybuilding, and they just envisioned like these skinny little guys. I think that's what one of the companies said. What are these little pencil necks, you know, that are walking on stage? And I said, you know, it's not that. And we put on this event, and it drew people from right across the country. There was about 100 athletes. The auditorium was filled, and we saw that there was a need here. And in addition to people stepping on the stage to showcase what they had transformed their body into, they were also acting as a testament that you can do this without the use of drugs. So they were all sharing this message of really empowerment in a certain way, even though people didn't know it at that time. And that one event grew. It grew to become an entire tour. It was called the Fame World Tour. And that expanded to be one of the fastest growing tours with events we had all around the world. And those turned into expos because the event theaters became too small to accommodate. And those turned into television shows, magazines, model and talent agency, and all these different attributes. What happened is we realized that we had empowered so many people to transform, because people would look at the stage, not always in the terms of being an athlete, but they would look at it and think, okay, I want to transform, I want to look better, so I'll use that stage as a goal, and I'll set my mind on getting ready for that event.
That's right.
And now you can start to visualize, and you can move towards that. And people were doing that, and we were seeing that this great transformation, but we're seeing that there tended to be too much focus just on the outside appearance of the body. And people were just focused on that and forgot about the other side, the mental and emotional and the nutritional aspect of it.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's a huge factor. So after many, many years of putting on the events, we took a hiatus to step back and say, something needs to be done differently in the industry so that people recognize that being fit goes beyond just strength and appearance. There's so much more to it. There's so much more to the mind-muscle connection, to the emotional connection, to the whole spiritual aspect of what you're doing. And that's why we've put forth this initiative called Rethink Fit. And with my book, the fact that I finished it only a bit over a year ago, I was able to take the lessons and the wisdom and the learned experiences that I had over my career and embed those as empowerment and self-growth messages within the book. So that's how the two tie together.
Okay. Wow. So I know you have fit questions, so I'm gonna let you go.
Well, I'm really, you know what it is with me. Obviously, I am overweight. So I'm kind of going to the gym with my buddy right now, and he's a little bit more, a lot more knowledgeable than me. Like, he was actually training for a show. Like, he believes in the natural kind of way of bodybuilding. You know what I mean? I think he got injured before he got to his show though. So right now that's how I'm working. I'm not really I wouldn't use any drugs anyway. I'm just a regular guy, but like, I'm really trying to ask a question of, how can a guy that looks like me get to that point where he can compete in one of these shows? Like what does a guy like me need to do, or how long does he need to work? Because I've seen people have to lose weight for those shows, not lose weight, excuse me, get fit for those shows, and it requires a way different level of working out. You know what I mean? So what kind of things do people do to get ready for these shows, these natural shows?
So because I haven't been putting them on in the current state, I'm going to go back to what I understood when we did this, and I don't think it's changed much. That first step is being able to visualize what you can look like. You know, to have that image in your mind's eye, to be able to visualize that. And I think a lot of bodybuilders, a lot of athletes use that method of visualization even before it became a popular thing of, you know, you need to visualize and you need to do these things. They were already doing that naturally. So, you know, when you said at the beginning, how can you take someone like you, an overweight person? Well, don't visualize that. Now start to look at who you can be, and that starts to become the message that you have in your head. Because that simple fact has a huge, huge bearing. It has a bearing on how you conduct yourself. So a lot of people in the fitness world, they're embraced in a culture and a lifestyle, a way of being. And that means that if you're thinking of yourself of where you can be and what you can achieve, well, maybe instead of taking, and I'm just making this up right now, but maybe instead of parking at the spot that's closest to the entrance of where you need to go, you park the furthest, so you have to walk it. Maybe instead of taking an escalator or an elevator, you're taking the stairs. Maybe you're just doing different things through your day that start to put you into that different frame of mind.
Identity shift.
That's really the first step.
Right. Identity shift.
Yes. That's great.
You know what's crazy? Like, I don't know if these guys make fun of me. You know me, I have a vision board. Okay. I got to make another one, but I got one. And on this vision board, I have 2 pictures of me. I took my face, cut it out, and I put it on a fit man's body. Right.
That's awesome.
And I look at that and I'm like, all right. And he's fit, but he's dressed really nice. Like it's more than just that. It's like a whole image that I would like to portray at one point. And I know these guys probably laugh at me, but that has helped. That's how I want to look. That's how I keep it in my head when I'm working out. And it's really crazy that he says that, because that's what I did. That's insane. And it's more of an identity shift, because you're right. It's like, other than us having chicken wings earlier, it's like you're out and you're like, you know what? Since I have that picture in my mind, okay, while you might be getting this, I might get a salad, or no, I'm going to eat at home and I'm going to eat this. No, I'm going to drink water all day, or, you know what I mean? Like, it changes the way you think completely, if you stick to it. So
it's that first step is the action step you're taking. So that action step may be the visualization, what you did. Yes, there is so much research and scientific research that's been done to show those benefits of the visualization and taking action steps in a certain direction towards it. So that vision board, that's amazing, because that's a first step. A lot of people visualize so that they can build their perfect body, their physique, or the way that they see themselves as that superhero. The whole aspect is to unleash your superhero, to be able to do that in a way that's going to get you from point A to point B. The putting up the board on the wall, well, you know what a lot of athletes would normally do for the competition. So if we saw you that day and you said, yeah, you know what, maybe you would want to compete. Well, if you picked up a poster, so people would take the posters that we had that were highlighting the events, and those posters would go on their fridge, would go on their wall. Those were things that they're always looking to and they're aspiring forward. So always having that visual keeps it so much stronger, and having it up on a wall, it's powerful.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. Now, with that now you say you had that vision to do that and also to write a book. What them visions and your goals comes trials that you have to overcome. Can you speak on some of the trials you had to overcome in writing your book, and also in you being this fitness guru? I'm just
absolutely.
Absolutely. So I'll start with the fitness world first, because the passion was to create these events. And then at the same time, while doing that, we also had to, so I did this together with my wife, Mindy. So we launched all this, and it's one thing to have the passion to do it. But now you have to learn how to run events, sell sponsorship, execute on different programs, manage staff, do marketing, be the accountant, do all that kind of stuff, be the spokesperson, and be the person who's running the events too. So I was the head judge and physique judge. So I probably watched, I don't know, 20, 30,000 athletes, you know, walk across the stages. I was also MC. So there's all these components that you have to learn together.
Right.
The part that is the key to what you asked is being able to take things as learning lessons. Now, it doesn't always feel like a learning lesson that you're willing to accept at the time that something's not going in the direction that you want it to go.
Of course.
At that time, it doesn't feel like that. But if you can allow yourself to let go of that and know that you're on the trajectory, it even goes back to what we were just saying with that vision. It's having that vision in your mind of where you're going to go. So if you have that and you hold that, the little things in between don't matter as much. Right? Because if you know you're going there, it can go straight. It can go on all these patterns. The secondary lesson that I think was the biggest that I learned was to go with my gut feel. That
I've heard that.
Almost every occasion where there was some kind of business decision that was made that didn't turn out as well as it should have.
Right.
It was when I went against my gut because I didn't like what my gut was saying and I wanted to do it differently.
We overthink some things sometimes. It was like, man, if we just went with the gut instinct, it'd be a lot easier.
Not even easier, but you know, at least I could say I'm comfortable with that decision.
Yeah, exactly.
On
my book, I wouldn't say that there were the pitfalls because in many ways it came out when it was supposed to come out. If it came out earlier in my career, maybe the right lessons weren't embedded within it and may not reach the person in the way that it needed to.
Right.
The things that I learned though at the beginning is I wanted to do it all myself. And it's that part of letting go and knowing that your expertise only extends to a certain degree. Meaning I wrote the book and then I said, well, I'll also do the cover and I'll also do this and I'll also do that. And it was when I let go and we said, you know what? No, let's find a professional person to do the cover.
Right.
And the right person showed up and the cover actually came out in the way that I had visualized it when I had first written the book. So it's that part of being able to let go and know that you don't have to be an expert in everything, that if you're willing to allow others to come in, then the right people will show up.
Yeah. I tell people that all the time. I have a saying. I said the difference between an idiot and a smart man. An idiot knows everything. A smart man is still willing to learn.
Absolutely.
That is my biggest saying. I always say it all the time.
What I got from that too is letting go.
Yeah.
Like everything's that, first of all, you can't do everything yourself.
No.
Like it'd be great to think you can, but like with this podcast, it's like if I tried to do what this guy does, it ain't gonna work out as well because I take care of the sound, I take care of, you know, certain other things. But if I tried to do everything, I would drive myself crazy and nothing will end up like I like it. But I could put 100% into, you know, my one or two things, pretty much my profession when it comes to this, and get the results that I need. And he can do the same with his responsibilities,
which is which is a good thing.
Well, what you said, Kevin, is true. One of the mentors I had, one of the first things that he had me say and, you know, be able to embrace was, I don't know what I don't know. And to be able to let go of that and be open to being a continual student. And, you know, that's a big thing to be able to drop. And it's an important thing because then it allows you to know more and learn more and learn the things that are probably really important to know at that time, as long as you're open to letting go.
That's because when people see that you're still willing to learn, it is not a burden to them to teach you. But when you come across as this know-it-all and you know everything, it's like, well, okay, what can I really give to you since you know everything? Even if the information you're relaying to them is wrong, it's like, you know what? You feel as though you know it. Go see it for yourself. You know, when you want to come back and learn, hopefully some people will be like, if you want to come back and learn, I'll be here waiting for you, which is not always the case.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I want to go back to something you said. You said your first mentor. So, because at some point I'm going to get me a mentor. I'm going to get me one. When did you get your first mentor, and what made you understand the importance of having a mentor?
Great question. Throughout the fitness career and everything, I was not open to that. It was not even in my bandwidth. In fact, when people came and approached me and said, they needed to be in a position to guide me or direct me, I thought, no way. I know what I know. I'm on a mission and I'm going there, and I don't need anybody else to come in. When I did get a mentor, which was now moving into the second part of our career with the Rethink Fit side and with my book, I realized how important it is to have a mentor. And, you know, I spent many, many years under guidance and learning, and did coaching myself and helping to empower people. The reason a mentor is so important is it gives somebody else who's not you and not your friend and not someone you're close to hold you to a level that they know you're able to achieve.
Right.
That's very different, because everybody else, including yourself, lets you get away with what you're potentially capable of. A mentor holds you higher, and while holding you higher, what that does is it provides you time acceleration. Something that may take you 10 years to do, maybe you could do it in a year or less, because someone is helping guide you to that direction, and you're getting the benefit of that person's life lessons and learned experiences and mistakes that they've made.
Accountability.
That's where the key is. Earlier on in my life, when I was, when we were hardcore into running the events, and it was an event every weekend, traveling and doing all that kind of stuff, I knew that we were on a certain direction, but I was not in the mindset to have somebody else tell me what I should be doing. Right?
Yeah.
And had I had someone to do that, I think the direction would have been very, very different.
That's good, because you know what? We've been having that conversation a lot lately. Is like a lot of people been telling us yes, and it's been friends and family. It was like, man, but we are not reaching the goals that we have set. But by hearing you say that, it makes so much sense now. You don't need a bunch of yes men around. You need somebody to tell you realistically what you can do and how to go about doing it, even if it doesn't sound good to you, but they're not telling you in a malicious way.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Right. That's where it comes into, and sometimes accountability can come from a mentor. It could come from someone who's a peer to you also, who is someone that you have, there's a mutual respect between the two, and that they can hold you accountable to the goals that you're sharing. But it means being able to do that and say, here's the goals that I have. Here's what I'd like you to be able to do. If I don't achieve these things, here's what I'd like you to do or say to me, or hold me to that higher goal, instead of being like what you said, Kevin, of just being having yes men around you and people just saying, yeah, you did this. But yeah, I did this, but I was supposed to do this. So help me get to this.
And that's, to me, I'm sorry. I'm on a journey.
Yes.
I'm on a journey, and fitness is part of that journey, but also, just finding the things that I could be successful in, like, podcasting being one of them, but, career wise too, you know what I mean? Like this, can be a career, but just in my professional life. So I'm really like on a path where I'm trying to find mentors and certain things and understanding the importance of that. So that's why everything you're saying is really hitting home to me, because I'm like, that's I forget who said it. I hate when I forget authors' names. So I once heard, I guess, a quote from an author. I'm going to find his name and I'm going to put it somewhere in the bio or something like that. But he said that he paid a mentor. I think he might have paid. It definitely wasn't Tony Robbins. It was somebody of that stature. Maybe it was Grant Cardone, you know, one of the YouTube mentors out today. And he said, I cut him a check to go faster to my dream. And to me, that kind of like circles back around to what you were saying. It's like with the 10 years to 1 year thing. Like you can like invest in that either money or time with a mentor just means that a lot of mistakes that you could have made
are eliminated.
Yo, he on, nah, you ain't got to do it that way. Boom, boom, boom. I got it like this because I've done it before.
Yeah.
So have you ever thought about, well, I think you mentioned it, mentoring other, you know, young men or women?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing that for many years.
Yeah, so you mentioned
it. And, you know, in different ways, you know, whether it's directly to help with their business or on their mental and emotional, they all tie together. And that is a big component. So yes, I do that one-to-one, but that's a component that we said that our whole initiative is about. And this whole Rethink Fit initiative is really getting people to rethink the way that they're doing pretty much everything by taking action steps, by doing different things that are going to move you along on a journey. You said you're on a journey. Most people are on that journey of growth and of transformation. Right. And the way to do that is by, there's a Japanese expression called, that's a word, Kaizen. Kaizen means small incremental steps. That, you know, if you were training for that bodybuilding show, you know, going back to that, and you start at the gym tomorrow, you're probably not going to see something tomorrow. You may not see it the next day or the next day, but you know what? After like a week or so, 10 days, you start seeing these changes. Well, our whole initiative is designed around telling people, well, you can unleash your superhero. Whatever that means, whether it's being a creative person, launching a podcast show, doing a television show, being an artist, or it's something that they've got an innovation or something that they want to do on their personal journey or professional. It's taking simple action steps that can help people move forward. So for example, my book, because it's a comedy book, you know, primarily, I have action steps that I've issued to people, which is you read my book and you laugh out loud, or you have a moment where you have an aha or a new awareness. Well, then tag me on social media and use the hashtag Serbanan and unleash your superhero. Then I'll know about it. And there's prizes and things like that that can be won. But those are all geared to keep people on a pathway. So why did I start with the comedy part? Well, when somebody could just pause for a moment and laugh and just enjoy that moment, you're already in like this creative state. And either you're in that creative state just enjoying the moment, or that creative state is going to propel you into a position of flow, and the right creativity is going to start to come out of you of where you need to go. So it's taking action steps in different ways that are going to make you want to continue on those journeys and keep doing more and more things. So what I said as far as being a mentor, it's more that the things that we've learned over our careers, we're issuing as these action steps for people to take, just so that people everywhere can get engaged and do something that's going to make them feel good and will allow the things that they're doing to empower the people that they're around too. And that's where it comes to accountability. If you decide that you were going to do something, and I'm just making this up now, and you were going to compete, right? And you said you were going to take the action step to compete. Again, I made that up. Well, you may follow some of the other experts and some of the other people who are actually issuing action steps that are going to help you along that journey. Well, if you take those action steps and you're sharing that journey on social media, you've now allowed yourself to be accountable to the people that you're sharing that information with. Oh. So now you're on this self journey, and the people in your network who are watching you, well, they're the ones who are holding you accountable, and you're moving forward because now you feel that you can be inspiring people, and you start to feel what that feels like, and you keep doing it. So our goal was to, in many ways, well, how do we mentor or empower, inspire as many people as we can in the easiest way possible? Well, let's issue action steps for people. Let's make sure people have access to the right experts and innovators and people that they can follow. And what we've done is we've said, well, let's make a collection of all these different action steps so that people can take that journey. And you can say, well, I want to compete. Well, who can I follow? Who's going to help me and guide me? Because, you know, when you even look at mentorship, it's the same like your coaching, mentorship, things like that. Well, you can have that in so many different areas of your life, and you should. And if you have that ability to follow people who can give you insights that you wouldn't get otherwise, well, then that's that journey to take.
Oh, wow. Let me ask you a question. And this is just honestly me just asking. Do you meditate?
I do.
I don't know what it is. I get a certain energy off you that I don't know what it is. That I'm like, it's a calming energy. Number one, you know what you're talking about, but it just popped in my head as you were talking, like, yeah, I bet he meditates.
You do it. I know you.
I got to get back to it. What type of, well, I'm not going to put you on the spot. I don't know too much about it. I just know kind of what I might either get off of YouTube or I think I read one book on meditation on different types. Like, do you have a specific type, or it's a weird question? I don't know.
You know, it's not. And yes, I started meditating probably maybe 10 years now, 5 to 10 years, something like that. Much more so over the last maybe 4. And meditation, I think sometimes people just think it's you have to sit in this special position and you have to do it in a very, very specific way. Right. If you're out for a walk and you're just out in nature and you're just in your own head, you're meditating. Now, you can go and do very specific things and say, okay, I'm going to sit still. I'm going to quiet my mind, and I'm just going to get connected to my heart. Right. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to take 10 deep breaths, and you're going to allow your body to fill with the oxygen and just be calm. One of the biggest things is that most of the time people are in a stress state, in a constant stress state. And when you're in a stress state, the whole reaction point for your body is it's taking the oxygen out of your brain. It's taking it away from the areas that your body doesn't need to deal with a stressful situation. So if you take that moment and you take 10 deep breaths in, and you're pausing, you're putting the oxygen back into where it needs to go. You're getting yourself to a calm state. Well, that's a form of meditation. And just that alone can change the way that you're feeling in so many different ways. As far as like meditations, there's so many different things. Yeah. And everything from where you're just doing it to calming music, or where there are guided meditations or affirmations that are repeated, in your head, that you're hearing from different sides of your head that are influencing different parts of your brain. Right. So there's all kind of really cool different things. It's more, again, saying that I'm going to take that action step and I'm going to start. I'm going to do it, and I'll learn more and more ways that I could do it, or more techniques.
Right. I'm telling you, because that's how it was. I'm not going to spend too much time on it.
No, go ahead.
That's how it was for me. I'm going to be honest. I was like, I forgot what got me really into it. I think I might have been super stressed about work. And I was like, you know what? Because I thought that you had to be in sitting Indian style. Excuse me, Native American style. Listen, I don't know the right way.
Sitting style, just
crisscross applesauce. That's what we call it now. Yeah,
yes, there you go.
I don't want to offend anybody. I don't, we don't do that. But crisscross applesauce, with different, the different moodgers, I think they call them. I was like, I don't want to do that. And my wife might walk downstairs and look at me and say, what the heck are you doing? So I started really early in the morning at like 5 o'clock in the morning when I knew she wouldn't be up. And to me, I just started like just trying to be present in that moment and figure out how to be present in that moment. That's where I started. And am I great at it? No, but I think it's just like anything else. It's more of a practice. Like you're never going to master it. It's just more of a practice, a good practice.
Well, yeah. And how you said meditate, I must meditate all the time because it's times I ride in my car and I don't think about anything. Or when I used to ride my motorcycle, I used to get on my motorcycle and I knew I had to pay attention to the environment around me. So everything I had going on in my life completely went out of the window. Stress, bills, anything I was thinking about that day, it had to go out the window because my focus was on riding that bike. And when I would get off my bike, I would feel so much at ease because I would ride through areas where there was a lot of nature and everything. Not so much on the highways, but just nature, seeing back roads and getting that feel of the wind and everything. But it was I'm guessing, my form of it. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds. You know what? I had a question for you also. What were some of the shows that were developed off of the Rethink Fit model? Like the TV shows, I'm sorry.
So when we were running the events in Canada, there's a network called TSN. TSN is the equivalent of ESPN.
I heard that.
And for TSN, we created a series. It was very cool. So we did specifically a bodybuilding show. And that at that time was called Muscle Mania Canada.
Okay.
And we did a show for fitness. Fitness is 2 rounds. Fitness is, at that time, was just females. 1 round was in bikini, and the other round was a routine that's like a combination of dance and gymnastics and freestyle and all that kind of stuff. So we did something called the Tsn Fitness Series. And when we did that show, they had promised us 1 primetime airing and 3 repeats. The show's popularity was so great that it was played over 200 or 225 times that year. And it was a show that they used for counter programming. So that was a very successful show. It was their #1 non-live sporting event show. So much so that it was translated into their French network called RDS, and also reformatted for WTSN, which was Women's TSN. ESPN then picked up parts of it as well. And we ran shows that were televised in the UK for Channel 1, whatever that means. And we did a tour in South Africa, which culminated with a large show that was a television show for some sports network, a European sports network. We also did shows for television in the Philippines, and then someone took our shows and would film them, and they were used on Army TV. So I don't know where that was shown. So those were the shows that we did at that time.
Okay. Now I got another question.
Go ahead, bro. Listen.
So what do you think about the CrossFit games? I don't know why. I'm curious.
I don't know enough about it all. I know that it became a movement, and it became something that people unite in and bond in that type of relationship. And I think that's really cool. When we started the natural bodybuilding movement, it was at its infancy. It was brand new, and the people that were connected, formed this relationship and these bonds that they kept for years, even after they've competed. We're still friendly and speak to people, and they competed 25 years ago. So it's that unity that it's fostered and it's created, and it's given the ability for someone who never thought that they were an athlete to be able to restructure their life and train and be an athlete and maybe be on TV. So, you know, that would be my answer to that.
Yeah, I was just curious because I like a lot of that is to me was related, like especially with like getting them on. I don't know because I kind of saw CrossFit on like Netflix. I didn't know anything about it. And I said, man, these people. I said, you ever seen CrossFit?
Yeah, I see.
Like the CrossFit games, or
I haven't seen CrossFit games. I rode past CrossFit studios, and
they go crazy. That's why I was like, I wonder what he thinks about that. So you know what?
We'll get into his book. Let's get into his book
Yeah,
because I want to get into the comedy. I'm a big.
Okay.
I love comedy.
My bad.
I'm sorry.
Awesome.
So I'm a big fan of comedy. Have you tried any stand-up off of your book, or dabbled in it a little bit, or you was like, I'm just gonna stick to writing it, so not as so much as performing it on stage live in front of people?
In high school, so some of the influences at that time, or our major influence, was a show called SCTV. So I don't know if Second City Television, SCTV, so many of the great comedians came out of that. It was very strong in Toronto, and it was also in Chicago, but it was the Toronto group. Names like John Candy and Martin Short. Yeah. All these guys came out of SCTV. Me and my friend, we always joked around about, potentially doing stand-up and, talking different routines and stuff like that. I haven't thought about it again. Every so often I joke with my wife that, I'm going to do a stand-up. I haven't put real thought towards that. Right now, it's more been in the book, and what I'm having fun with with the book is doing readings. So
right.
And and I'm getting more comfortable with that, of getting into the character of it, and maybe that may turn into doing something stand up. I mean, that would be a lot of fun. You need to be on the ball. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, because stand up and writing goes hand in hand. When you listen to comedians talk, they do. Most of their work comes in writing. They sit in rooms by themselves for hours. Everybody's asleep in the house, or the house is clear, and they just sitting there and write and write and write. Then they go perform it, see how it goes, take the certain things out, write some more. It's like these guys. You ever see most comedians? I was just watching Aziz Ansari. He did a special. And
Aziz Ansari?
I'm sorry. His recent special, but you see him on the stage. He has his notebook, and he's telling his jokes, and he's seeing a reaction. He's writing it down. He's like, okay. So I'm wondering, like, that's why I asked, would you ever get in comedy? Because the writing aspect is there, but and you say you're doing the live readings right now, like it looks like it can be a lane.
It's like a performance.
Yes, it is a performance.
Yeah. You're right. It may go to that. It might be. I mean, I think it would be a lot of fun to do. I visualize myself doing that. I haven't thought further of, okay, here's the jokes that you got to do. See, I guess it's different when you're putting it into a story format, because you're intertwining that within a story, or you're making your character do certain things that create those jokes. When you're doing a stand-up, I mean, you've got a live audience, you've got that type of energy, but you also have that type of expectation to ensure that you're making them laugh.
Yeah, but how I think, I say for our storytellers, the best comedians are storytellers, because they make you visualize, in a book, like you're there, and how they tell this. The jokes is intertwined in there, but the story is what's keeping you, in there. Because there's certain comedians you're like, okay, listen, this is the same like dirty joke. It didn't really capture me. Like anybody can tell that, but a guy telling the story. And he's getting you deep into that story, and then he comes with this punchline. He's like, I didn't expect it to go that way.
You're right.
Surprise.
If I think back to some of the comedy legends, from going back years and years or so, it was stories that they were telling.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't just the one-liners or so. Those are awesome too. Yeah. The stories intertwined with. Yeah, you're right.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
So we had Dr. Dawn Mensch on the show a little while ago, and she's a a children's book author, and I think she went to like Netflix and wrote screenplays for her books. Did you ever think about doing anything like that for your book, like getting it adapted into maybe a live action or anything like that?
Absolutely. So the first step was when when we released the book, we took it to audiobook right away, and that was to me, it took it to another level because it made now a different sensory input on listening to the story. I just recently, only about a week ago, came out with an animated video of the first scene. So it's a 2-minute video. It's on my website, and which is serbanand.com. And
I have
it came out so cool because I gave the direction to the team, and they came back with something that was, in my opinion, like so perfect on how I visualized it. The intention is to be able to turn this book into an animated series that yet is taken to one of the networks.
Nice.
Yeah, that will be, and that'll be good because everybody loves a good comedy series. Like it's even animated ones. Like they're some of the best.
I spend most of my time watching animated comedies. That's just me though. I don't know. Kind of tickles my fancy.
So what future goals do you have set for yourself that that you're trying to set and achieve right now?
Like he didn't accomplish enough.
No, it's always more to accomplish.
I know.
With my book, I see this is turning into a 5-book series or more. I believe it's going to go into an animated series like we talked about. I'd like to take it into a comic book format. We're redoing the audiobook so that we are layering it with music and more sound effects so it feels like you're watching a movie. So that, I'm really excited about. Book number 2 should be out by the summer. And our Rethink Fit initiative is just getting up and going. That website is unleashyoursuperhero.com. And I'm excited about that because I think people are looking for something to be able to do that will help them and guide them on a journey of how to really just be happy. Be happy, be healthy. What we say is it's a pathway for people to love better how they think and feel and act and look and dream. And I think it's important for people to know that they can achieve those things and have a community of support that can help them get there. My goal with it is to empower. Our goal, we've always said, is to empower a huge community of people who are innovators and experts and who have lived experience, and people who are having these action steps and are embracing that pathway of transformation and coming together in community.
Okay, this question is a little off, but I want to ask it anyway.
Yeah.
Do you narrate your own audiobooks? That's a big thing for me. I love for the author.
Me too.
I didn't. I found someone who did it in a way that, in my opinion, took it to a whole new level. It needed to be British. I can't really do British in that. No, but originally I had thought of doing that. But there's something very different that you see comes to life when you have a professional do something that's what they do and that's what they're good at. And it was really incredible. I just wanted to come back to one thing, Kevin, there that you said. And, if you're looking at what's our ultimate goal, is really being able to have a community where people are coming together, where they can come together in community to empower each other, to motivate each other, to inspire each other, and to be there in a community to support each other. And what I'm talking about community is a live community, in different parts of the world.
Okay.
So
what advice would you have for people, that want to follow that want to follow in your footstep or have the same dreams and goals as you, what advice can you give to them to help them achieve to get to, you know, where you're at right now?
Right. You know what? Connect with me. You know, I love chatting with people. I love being able to help people, you know, take that next step. But connect with me, and maybe there's a way to fit into this whole empowerment journey. Maybe there's a way to connect them with the experts. I don't know everything, you know, that whole, I don't know what I don't know, but there may be a way to connect you or anyone with the right experts, the right innovators, the right people, or maybe they already are, and they're looking for a way to establish and have more relationships. As far as specific advice that I would give is, I heard this saying once, and I can't remember the person's name who said it. And the quote was, dream much bigger, much faster. Mm-hmm. And you just sit with that for a moment. First, the whole notion of that dreaming, and most people don't do that. Most people just start and they do things and they just go along a pathway and they're just hoping for the best. And they haven't really dreamed because I think they think it's not possible. You know, when the whole notion of this whole fitness movement that we created, it happened. I was in the gym and I was thinking about, well, what do I want to do next in my career or pathway? I was kind of in between what I wanted to do in my mid-20s. And like this sort of notion flashed in my head, I'm going to be the biggest name in bodybuilding. And I had no idea what that meant. I didn't know if that was, I'm going to compete, I'm going to be the biggest name. I didn't know what that meant. But I had like this feeling and I had this vision and this passion to want to be able to do it. And I think a lot of people would leave that at just, oh, that's kind of cool. Or, what does that mean? It's being able to take that action and say, you know what, I'm going to move forward with that. And you know, that was powerful. I think I'm going to do that. I don't know what it means yet. Maybe it means competing. Okay, I'll get ready for a competition. I did that and I competed. And then I saw, well, it was more than that. So it's that being able to dream and let go, because most people just stop themselves shy of being able to take that first step because they think the dream is not possible. It is. And if a lot of people ask people who are very, very successful at what they've done, it comes because they had a dream and they believed in that and they moved forward and nothing came in their way. And, you know, when we were talking about the pitfalls and stuff like that, it's taking them as lessons, but knowing that that's not important. It is, you know, these temporary things, they are. But if you have the goal in mind, you know where you're going.
That's very enlightening to me, because that's where I'm at with this podcast. I see it as being the biggest podcast, but you breaking it down to me right now made it so much more like I always visualize it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
All that's, you know, off subject. So I gave these guys like, this was what, 2 years ago, where I wrote out,
and I still have my check.
A check for $10 million for each one of us. And I said, yo, keep that check while we do, like, it's a goal. Like, money ain't necessarily the goal, but it's what motivates, you know, some people, you know, money among other things. So I just felt like keeping that end goal in mind will get us through all the trials and the tribulations that we've came through so far, which
we had a few.
I mean, yeah, we had a bunch.
We had a lot, you know, because we didn't have, like, well, we need to get a mentor. We didn't have a mentor.
Ooh, podcasting mentor.
Yes, we started our podcast, and to get to the numbers we got to, because at first when we started our podcast, it was like we'd drop an episode. It took 2 weeks to get 5 plays. I'm like,
yeah.
At the beginning, which was rough. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then it took almost a year, but when it was a goal, it's like, oh, we got 100 plays.
Yeah. Now we're at a couple thousand a month.
So, yeah, a couple thousand a month, you know, which is easy, you know, 600, 700 when we drop an episode.
Yeah.
That initial day, I'm like, wow, from going from 5 listens in a week to now, if I drop this thing, I'm going to get 700 plays that day. I mean, we came a long way.
Came a long way. It feels good.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You know, you were saying that you've put together these checks, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
To take that to that next level, start to think about what the emotion is of you cashing those checks. What does it actually feel like? What's going to happen with the funds that have just been deposited? What are you going to do with it? What are you going to buy? What does it look like? What does it feel like? The more you can give a visual in your mind and or on those vision boards and things like that to what it will be and the emotion that you will feel, then when you're taking those moments to get into that mode of meditation, just take those moments and look at the check and feel the emotion of what that's going to feel like and what you're going to do with it. And then visualize the different things of spending the money and getting those things. That will take that to like an nth degree.
Wow.
Can I call you Jeff? Jeff, that's what I'm telling you.
I hear you. I listen to you. I'm the only one that follows. We have a third co-host. He's busy with his children, but I follow this man and I trust him. And I you know, you haven't let me down the wrong path ever. I never said, you know, I always
best friends. So in closing, where can, if you have anything else that you want to let our audience know, you know, feel free. But other than that, where can people, I know you already went over it, but we're kind of going to consolidate. Where can people find your work, which I'm pretty sure at this point, any TV station, but where can people find your work? Where can they find you? And if you have any last words for our audience, please feel free.
Okay. Thank you. Again, thanks for the opportunity. This was a really fun chat. I have a number of different websites. So the website for my book specifically is serbanand.com. The website for the Rethink Fit initiative, where people can get connected to different experts, find different action steps to take, and become an expert, is unleashyoursuperhero.com. And we also have a talk show too, which is called Tuning In, and the website for that is tuningin.club. As far as finding me elsewhere, I'm on social media under my name, Jeffery Kipple. You could find me on, I think, almost all the main platforms. And just hit me up and engage with me. My final thing that I would say is, I think the world needs more laughter. I think the world needs more time to laugh and pause and take a break from all the other craziness that's around us. So my action step for everyone is, you know, pick up the book, listen to it, or download it, or have it live. And if you have a laugh out loud moment or a new way of rethinking things or an aha, tag me on social media. Use the hashtag #UnleashYourSuperhero and Serbanand, and you know, tell me what your experience was about. There's going to be prizes to be won, but it's more that it can help other people also feel happy. And you know, that's the bottom line. I think we all want to be happy.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to make sure that in your episode that we drop, that we put all the links where everybody can find you at. That way, you know, we do our part and everything like that. So, because we're found on all major platforms, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you stream podcasts, you can find us.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
If you ever do a reading in Jersey, South Jersey, maybe Philly, let us know, because I want to come. I'm dead serious.
I'm dead serious too. This was an awesome episode. You gave us
great episode,
a ton of information that hopefully we will use, and hopefully our audience can use.
I like your vibe, man. I like your vibe, Jeff. I'm not gonna lie. I love your vibe.
Well, thank you. You know, I'm happy to be back. And I'm happy if you guys want to connect offline too, you know, and just explore more. I think you guys, this was a fun show too. The energy that you guys had between you and just the flow of the show it was very comfortable to be here. So thank you.
You're welcome. And like you said, if you have any work in the future, you have our information.
Please.
Come on back. We don't. Yeah, we have a lot of repeat guests. We don't mind. You know. That's all. So
awesome.
Let us know.
Hand it over to my co-host right here.
All righty. So that was our show for today, and we were your hosts,
Kevin Narrate,
and I'm Andre, and we want to thank our guest, Mr. That was the point, Jeffery Kipple. And Mr. Jeffery Kipple, and we will see you guys on the next episode.
Exactly. As we always say, peace.
Peace.
Take care.
Take care.